On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just a place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to remind everyone that our meetings are web streamed and televised, and for those in attendance, I would ask that you please place your phone on silent mode. I would like to again thank our camera volunteer, Bill Jackson, who's back there with us every week. I call to order this council meeting. First is the approval of the agenda. The agenda is before you, and we have one addition that is a closed session property-related matter. I believe we're going to start with that first this evening. Are there any other additions or changes? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Actually, I take that back. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rabbits and seconded by Councillor Van Passen. All those in favor? And that's carried. Next, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Okay, seeing none. We'll move on. I believe at this point then we're going to move into closed session. And I've got a motion here that's been moved by Councillor Rabbits and seconded by Councillor Geisens that Council move into closed session at 3:05 p.m. to discuss a matter pursuant to Sections 239 Charlie of the Municipal Act 2001 as the subject matter pertains to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality. All those in favor? And that's carried.
On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road, bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, on a strip of sandy soil.
To be on the field out here in case of somebody getting injured, I can assist. I got a certificate in it. And I learning to drive the bus. I also am trained to drive forklift.
I think I have to prove myself to myself first. Yeah, that I could do it. And then my employers would see that I could do it.
Working here, working in Jamaica, the difference is like the money. That is a huge difference, right? So when you have $1 here, you have $97 back home in Jamaica. So when you have $1,000 here, it's $97,000 back home. So that make a big difference, right?
Like that, it's like when people from Nova Scotia go to Alberta. Like they leave here, go to Alberta, and make big money. Same with the guys from Jamaica. So it's like this awesome opportunity to make a bunch of money.
It's a better standard of living overall.
Acabé mi casa, hice una sala con mármol, forré mi baño de mármol, compré una sala, un refrigerador y pues le hice sus sueños a mi hija, ¿no? Unos 15 años que ella tanto quería y gracias a Dios, pues ya trabajo de Canadá, pues le hice su sueño a mi hija.
Thanks to this job here in Canada, he finished his house and he gave his daughter her dream, which was to have his big party of 15 years old. That's like a dream for every 15-year-old girl. And many fathers start saving for that since they are babies, since the daughters are babies.
On our team here, his name is Bobby, and his wife had called him earlier that week saying that the textbook bill had come in, and it was quite extravagant. It was going to be like 40,000 Jamaican dollars.
She texted me for the cost for the book list. Yeah, and it's way more than I've expected.
Big bill, but he was so thankful to say that he told her to go ahead and write the check and pay the bill because he has a job here in Canada that he could support his family back in Jamaica so they could do their post-secondary education and carry on.
The program here just make it simple. Yeah, I just thank God for this program that I could be able to pay his school fee off, pay his book list off, and have everything under control. Yeah.
C'est leur ouvrage qui vivent au Guatemala. On a des ouvriers guatémaltèques ici. Ils sont des producteurs agricoles au Guatemala. Ils savent qu'est-ce que ça prend, qu'est-ce que c'est, puis ils ont une passion pour la production aussi.
This is agriculture. Food production doesn't have the margins enough to pay a lot of money. But for Mexican workers, I know that the impact of this money is a lot. It's big for their lives. Their kids go to good schools. Their kids will have opportunities. They will have small businesses. They will have better lives. And I can testify that every 2 weeks when they get paid, they go to send the money, and that goes to the wife, that goes to build the house, that goes to the expenses or maybe to have some chicken, some pigs, whatever they need to do there, with the help of their families in Mexico.
Bueno, la verdad nosotros venimos a trabajar aquí por la misma necesidad que en Guatemala no es posible para poder alimentar a un hijo, donarle una educación, donarle un vestimenta, alimentos, es muy difícil. La oportunidad que tenemos aquí en Canadá es muy grande. Ahora los pequeños bebés son mucho más alegres, ellos felices con un pequeño regalo, una casa mucho mejor. Ellos, de verdad, es aunque un poco triste cuando uno partir, pero realmente al regresar ellos se sienten mucho más felices porque sí se está.
Okay, I have a motion before me, moved by Councillor Geisens and seconded by Councillor Rabbit, that council reconvene in open session at 3:19 p.m. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we have two communication items this evening. And I'm, sorry, just give me one. Okay, so I guess on the first communication item, Councillor Van Passen, I see that you have added to the motion. You may. Yeah, I'm just one. I think at this point it might be wise. I'm just going to, I didn't realize that there was this other piece added on here, so I'm going to declare a pecuniary interest, obviously in the matter to do with Mr. Mascaron. So I will leave and I'll pass the chair to Councillor Martin.
Deputy Mayor, if it assists, I'll read out the motion that Councillor Van Passen has here. That the communication from John Mascaron, Integrity Commissioner for Norfolk County regarding the Code of Conduct complaints 2019-01 and 2019-02 be received for information, and further that Council accepts the Mayor's public apology and that no further action be taken.
Councillor Van Passen, you want to speak to that?
Yes, thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. A while back we were told that the Mayor broke a rule and had to apologize. We are now provided with a legal definition of what an apology is. It is an expression of sympathy or regret, a statement that a person is sorry, or any words or actions indicating contrition or commiseration, whether or not the words or actions admit fault or liability or imply an admission of fault or liability in connection with the matter to which the words or actions relate. On May the 7th, we were provided with a report from the Integrity Commissioner on complaints 2019-01 and 02. It was recommended that Council reprimand the Mayor according to Section 18.1 of the Code of Conduct, and during his presentation, the Integrity Commissioner asked Council to formally reprimand the Mayor. That's a quote. And he states that the Mayor has already been reprimanded by him through the report. The Integrity Commissioner went on to state that Council is sitting as an adjudicating body. He has made his decision and the report speaks for itself. And as to the formal reprimand, Council can word it as we like. But Bylaw 2018-33, Section 13.3 says, and I quote, the Integrity Commissioner shall personally exercise the power to impose penalties and shall only delegate same if the entire investigation has been delegated. Looks like somebody else just broke a rule. At the same meeting on May 7th, I heard the mayor sincerely apologize, so let's go back to that legal definition. On May 31st, the mayor publicly states, "Please accept my deepest and sincerest apologies." On May 7th, the Integrity Commissioner stated that he already reprimanded the mayor through his report and tells council to ask the mayor to apologize, which he has now done twice. We've been provided the legal definition of an apology, yet we're asked to punish someone based on a personal concept of what a perfect apology should sound like. It was this council that asked for the apology, and it should be this council that decides if it already has been offered and it's acceptable. I would move the motion that we receive it as information, we accept the mayor's apology, and no further action to be taken. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor. Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Martin, and through you. I would like to second the motion that's been put on the floor by Councillor Van Passen. It's of my opinion that we've talked about this apology enough at this point in time. I personally have been managing a lot of correspondence regarding this issue, and I feel that at this point in time it is distracting us from our duties, our fiduciary responsibility to this county, and our obligation to those residents who voted us in to get on with the business of governing Norfolk County. I would like to put this issue behind us. I feel that this motion would have that effect, and we'll be able to get back to the task at hand in the issues that are before us. We've recognized that the mayor did have to apologize for her conduct, and she has done so twice. And in my opinion, I think it's time for us to put this behind us and move on. And further to that point, we do have an obligation to focus our time at these meetings. And speaking about a report that honestly quite hasn't been put to bed yet either, I feel that we've been talking in circles about this particular issue. It is quite costly to have Mr. Mascarin continue to file these reports and appear before us, and I feel that he's upheld his end of the bargain in that regard. So with that, I won't belabor the point any further. You have my support, and I'm hoping I can count on the rest of my council here to support this motion and move on with the businesses of governing Norfolk County. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a seconder. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Huffman.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Martin. Okay, my thoughts. I have also been fielding a lot of calls, but probably not the same ones that you're thinking about. I've been fielding calls that have threatened me. I've been fielding calls for me to resign. This is not why I ran to be a councillor for Norfolk County. And I would like to just go back to your one comment, Councillor Roberts, that you'd said twice, apologized twice. So if you felt that the first apology was appropriate, then I would be assuming our vote would have been 6-2 for a further apology from the mayor. And again, to Councillor Van Passen, who also voted in the 7-1 vote for the mayor to apologize. This is not about chickens. It has never been about chickens. What this was about was that the mayor had stated to Mr. Mascarin that it was a preconceived action on her behalf. And she felt that there were issues that she was being maligned by staff. I can appreciate that because I've been feeling maligned as well for the last number of weeks with the threats and things like that. But the great thing is that with discussion, when I've had people who have started off saying, that's it, this is over, our mayor shouldn't have had to apologize, and then when I've been able to walk through from the January meeting till now, when the facts are out there, everyone seems to have a different take on it. So the thoughts, all of these comments from people that have emailed or text message or sent lovely messages to my personal Facebook Messenger, begrudging the fact that our integrity commissioner is from Toronto, what that has to do with where this gentleman resides, I have no idea. In regards to our resources being scarce, yes, our resources are very scarce in Norfolk County. Therefore, it could have ended very quickly back in January. Very simply. That it could have been, from my understanding, with the first contact from the integrity officer with Mayor Chop, integrity commissioner with Mayor Chop, that there was a contravention of the code of ethics, that it was a simple, I apologize for ripping up the paper, end of discussion. But it has not gone that way. It has gone on and on and on. Not because of this council, not because of our citizens, not because of our residents. So at this point in time, I would have to disagree that we move forward in terms of there's a slippery slope here. And when the next issue comes, do we just decide that, that's okay? We're not going to go with the code of ethics that the whole entire province follows. So I've made it very clear to everyone who has emailed me, phoned me, texted me, messengered me, that I am in support of this final. I think the Integrity Commissioner has done us a favor here by saying that they are seized in this matter. It's over. It's done with. No more. No more money. No more talk. Nothing. We're done. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor Martin. Just a question through you to the clerk. Assuming this motion passes, what does that communication look like with Mr. Mascarin, and what would we expect back?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I think I'm hopeful, Mr. Mascarin, that this is it. I don't think anything further will occur.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, moved for a vote. Those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. Councillor Van Passen.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I got one other little issue with this, and maybe I'm not the smartest man in the world, but if somebody showed up in my driveway one day and went out my front yard and cut down a tree that I didn't ask for, and then he sent me a bill, first place I wouldn't pay the bill. What I might do is, sue him for damages, or I might report him to the Better Business Bureau, but I wouldn't pay the bill. And right now we have another report that nobody has asked for. Is this just like an open session that without any complaints, without any direction from council, that we can just have ongoing investigations and we're going to get a big bill for it all the time? Or I'm just not sure what we should do about that.
Is that a motion? Are we doing something with it? Just to looking to our clerk here, maybe I'll just pass it over for further conversation from Councillor Rabbits.
Yeah, I think it was perhaps just more of a comment rather than looking for a response from staff. I don't have anything really to add.
Councillor Rabbits.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Martin, and through you to Councillor Van Passen.
Point of order, please. Can I get some clarification? I thought the motion, it was done, we're done, I thought. I'm confused.
Harry?
The motion was voted on and we're moving forward?
Having further discussion through the clerk? I think this might be going somewhere.
So, through you, Deputy Mayor, so a point of order would be for the chair to make a ruling upon. So if you if the item's over and you've said it's over, or if what we should do is if somebody wants to present a motion, now's the time to present a motion, or else we should move on. That would be my best advice to council. If there's no motions being tabled, let's move on to the next item.
Councillor Rabbits, you have a motion?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Martin, and through you, what I was just about to say is I'm not prepared to put a motion forward at this point in time, but if we did want to review policy 2018-33 or our own code of conduct, perhaps that would be able to clarify some of the roles, responsibilities, or concerns we may have had as a group or as an individual with Mr. Mascaren's process in terms of his reporting, and that's all I wanted to contribute to the discourse, would be that those would be the two policies that we would need to review if that was in fact our intention.
And Councillor Van Passen.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. That was my intention to work with staff to bring a notice of motion to the next meeting. There are some little gray areas in those bylaws that I think could use some help, and I'll be bringing something forward next week probably.
Notice a motion next week.
Okay, I'll take the chair back. Thank you, Councillor Martin. So next up is the second item of communication. That's regarding the AMO delegations. I can let the clerk take over. I know that we're looking for input from councillors as to anything that they would like addressed at AMO this year, but Mr. Schlang, did you have comments?
Yes, Chair. If I could just speak to the memo. At the time we made out this memo, I hadn't heard from the other ministers, but that is now open, the applications to meet with the ministers. So I thought I would work with the mayor's office, propose a number of items that we would take the ministers maybe for next week, and see if council wanted to add some, delete some, just to include the council members that maybe aren't attending, if there's some other subjects. But these are the ones that we would present to the opposition leaders. And if there was anything else you wanted to add, perhaps you could speak up now. But we thought just the two environmental issues that perhaps were important. But if there's anything else that you'd like to add, let us know.
Councillor Huffman.
Thank you, Mayor Chop. Through you to Mr. Schlang. Would the cannabis operations fall under environmental issues?
Through you, they could. We could bring that up as another item.
Okay, I'd respectfully request that they do be included, as most of the majority of communication that I receive from constituents in my ward and many other wards, they're concerned about them. So, and I know Mayor Chop had spoken about that before. So, okay, thank you.
What I was also hoping is that we might be able to see about some meetings with federal ministers in that regard. Anyone else? Okay, so I have a motion moved by Councillor Geisens and seconded by Councillor Martin that the communication from Andy Griselle, County Clerk, regarding AMO delegations be received as information. All those in favor? And that's carried. Next is the approval of minutes. We have two sets of council minutes before you tonight, the May 28th minutes and the June 5th special minutes. Are there any errors or omissions? Okay, seeing none, they will be adopted and signed by myself and the clerk. Moving on to reports of committees. First is the Council and Committee June 4th, 2019, open and closed. Councillor Huffman has pulled closed session item 12D from last week's agenda for further discussion. I have a motion to approve all other matters of the June 4th, 2019 meeting. That's been moved by Councillor Geisens and seconded by Councillor Rabbits. Any further discussion? Councillor Michelli?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to make some corrections to those minutes of that meeting. Just direct council to page 30. Under the minor corrections, there are some errors in the corrections, ironically. Item number 3 under minor corrections on page 30, it indicates there is a typo, and then it says in on the agenda. So I think that is meant to say on the agenda. So the word in should be deleted. And I'm also referring now to the same item number 3, which was correcting an error in the phrase, and I believe that it is still incorrect with a slightly different typo. Including municipal, it indicates here, including municipal or local boarding employees, and I believe that it should be board employees, just to correct that, please.
Thank you, Councillor Michelli, for those corrections. Anyone else? Okay, if I could, again, that was moved by Councillor Guise and seconded by Councillor Rabbits. All those in favor? Carried. I guess at this point we're going to deal with item 12D, so we're going to move into closed session. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rabbits and seconded by Councillor Van Passen. The council move into closed session at 3:38 p.m. pursuant to sections 239B and D of the Municipal Act, as the subject matter relates to personal matters about identifiable individuals, including employees of the local municipality or board, and is a matter of labor relations or employee negotiations. All those in favor? That's carried.
Sabe que realmente la necesidad que viene a cubrir uno aquí sí vale la pena.
Few Canadians are aware of the fact that there is a career path for international farm workers. Just like in any other industry, hard workers who demonstrate skills, initiative, and leadership move from pickers to team leaders to supervisors. Many have brought their families here and settled. Some have even bought existing properties here in order to start a new life as Canadian farmers.
I started the program in 2009. I started out in the greenhouse as we all came here to do. I remember the greenhouse supervisor, he said to me, you know what, Sherv, I'm not going to send you to work in the warehouse ever, because if I send you to the warehouse, they are not going to send you back over here. So he made the awesome mistake of sending me to the warehouse, and the rest is history. I started out as a packer there, and I gradually climbed up the chain. Now I'm the warehouse manager.
Shervin is here. He's here alongside with his wife Monique, who goes to school here, and he really has embraced our culture in itself. And Shervin, this is where he'll start a family.
My workers are totally invested in my business, and we have an understanding that, you know, I have to be successful, and if I'm successful, they'll have more work. We can we'll expand. We'll be leasing more orchards or buying more orchards. We can bring more workers, so it helps everybody.
The program is very regimented by the government in terms of what we have to do and how we have to do and what we have to report, and we have all kinds of regulations built around worker safety and employment standards and so on. It's reviewed every year by both the employers and the employees, so it is collective bargaining on issues of what's provided to workers at the workplace and how workers are treated. So a lot of thought and energy has got into that from the Canadian government, from the foreign governments, and from the employers. So it's really, the onus is on the employer to respect that and to cooperate with the rules, and everything will go good for you.
Right now I have around, I think, about 60 worker from the program.
And every year that it's growth. Every year we get more and more.
So what we get from Jamaica are some really great, I call them highly skilled farm workers. They are professional farmers.
There's a lot of goodwill from people in the community who understand the value of this program to the community. And local business leaders definitely know what the economic impact is of this. Because for every $10 that I spend on a worker's wage, it has a ripple of effect of about $30 in the local economy. And there have been studies on that to verify that.
The economic spin-off that Leamington enjoys from the migrant workers being here is substantial. Our guesstimate is more along the $18 million a year in economic input into this community, just from their shopping habits that they have. So when you look at the greenhouse industry as a whole, even our field farmers where these migrant workers are working, it's more than just the greenhouse industry. It's all the spin-off industry that's really hard to put your fingers on, but it's in the millions. So it's been very good for our municipality. The spin-off to employment, whether it's the trucking companies, the packaging firms, a greenhouse operation employs so many people outside of the temporary foreign workers that it's huge in this community for sure.
Yeah, we have guys that have come to us since we started. Now since 2010, every year, and a lot of times at the end of the day you go out and you talk to them. And then 5 years ago we started the baseball league in Leamington, and I did it just because I wanted to get to know them a little bit more, just than always me as an employer and them as an employee. And that's why we went out on a Sunday afternoon and they had nothing to do, and we got a couple teams together and started playing baseball. So. That the migrant workers get to know the local people more of the migrant workers, and then just Sunday afternoon have some fun. And it got pretty serious. We got 5 teams now that we're playing every Sunday afternoon, and it's a lot of fun. And that's how we can share a lot of things, and they talk more of their personal things and that they do in Mexico and what they have done in Mexico. And because when we started, I told them, I said, we're all friends.
We communicate via Wi-Fi pretty much every day. And, I talk to my wife every day, and that's, with the telephone. My daughter, my grandson, I video chat my grandson 3 or 4 times a week.
We have Wi-Fi, we can talk back to our Wi-Fi. Can see my family, see my little kids running up and down and say, Daddy, when you coming back? And say, Daddy, remember you bring that thing for me,
Que haya una comunicación constante, ¿no? Tanto con la mujer, con los hijos. Por la cosita más mínima que sea, hazle sentir que tú estás ahí. Que tú estás ahí para ellos, ¿no? Tanto para la mujer como para tu hijo. Cualquier duda que tengan, te la puedan preguntar, sientan la confianza. No porque estamos a miles de kilómetros, ¿no?
Nous, ici, depuis l'année 2000, présentement, on a une trentaine de travailleurs étrangers qui sont mexicains. On a eu un travailleur qui se nomme Valentine, que, dans le fond, tranquillement, il est arrivé au début des années 2000 avec nous autres. Puis, tranquillement, il s'est démarqué à travers l'équipe. C'était quelqu'un qui avait un certain leadership.
J'ai pris la décision de venir ici avec ma famille. Premièrement, parce que j'étais venu ici à peu près 9 ans. Puis 6 mois ici, 6 mois au Mexique, ça c'est plate parce qu'on est ici toute seule. Puis toute seule, on n'a pas de femme, on n'a pas des enfants, on n'a pas de famille ici.
Puis Valentine, je pense qu'il sait qu'il est apprécié, il est aimé, je pense qu'il aime vraiment son emploi ici. il est content de la réalité puis de la fierté de ce qu'il fait au niveau de son travail ici. Fait que c'était pas un choix pour lui de rapetisser le contrat, puis il nous en parlait, il avait les larmes aux yeux, puis il savait plus quoi choisir. Puis à un moment donné, il nous est arrivé, puis il nous a dit, ben c'est ma femme puis mes enfants qui s'en viennent ici, ça serait-tu correct? C'est une panoplie de gens qui amènent des cultures différentes, que ce soit africaines, que ce soit colombiennes, mexicaines. C'est ouvert à la mondialisation, aux saveurs aussi, hein, de connaître. Puis je pense que ça peut juste apporter une ouverture vers le monde. Puis Valentine a été un de ceux-là.
Pues sí, es un gran cambio. Aparte de que está muy bonito, el trabajo está pues bien. Aparte del frío, pues aquí adentro. Y pues está todo bien. Sí, es un gran cambio, pero es para bien, para un mejor futuro. Para los niños, sí, mejor futuro para ellos.
También.
También.
So some of the things that we've done to support our employees have been yoga programs. The last 2 years, I've had some of my teachers, Gina Wasserline and Misha Swan from Moksha, come and teach basic yoga for the employees to basically as a way to cope with strenuous work, repetitive work, to take tools from these classes to be able to do this on their own. If they say, you know, my wrists are sore today, like I've got some wrist stretches that I can take home and I can do this on my own.
Yeah! You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Hold on.
And so we've had these classes accessible, and I, you know, rotate through employees to make sure they all get an opportunity to do them and learn what they can from it and go from there.
Yeah, that's good. Bend your knees. Yeah, over here. There you go.
And, I mean, another thing that we do, we have been running a school here on the farm, teaching the guys how to, getting them, bringing the literacy up on for the guys. And so, and I help with that by texting. Before I couldn't send a text to anybody. And now, you know, I slowly we're getting into texting and helping them, you know, like some of them have very little schooling, so math. And so we all sat down and said, you know, what do you want to learn? Math and writing. We've increased that. This is year 3 now.
We saw one former worker whose son was from St. Lucia. He was able to put his son through to become a doctor. Well, that son ran for politics and got elected, and he went to the incoming prime minister and says, I want to be the Minister of Labor because I want to be responsible for the foreign worker program. He saw the benefit because he saw the benefit in his own family.
International farm workers pay taxes, pay into the Canada Pension Plan and employment insurance programs. They also buy groceries, gifts, and supplies to send home, partake in social activities, eat in restaurants. In communities where there is a large concentration of international farm workers, their impact is quite significant. Canada is known far and wide for the generous way in which we contribute to foreign aid, sending billions of dollars each year to nations around the world. The International Farm Worker Program can be viewed as direct foreign aid.
It's the best program, foreign aid program that Canada has because, number one, it doesn't cost the government a dime. Number two, that money is going directly into the hands of farm worker communities, minimal cost, no cost to government, and most direct benefit to the end user. So I think that's really misunderstood.
Every time I make a paycheck here, I know that because of the number of people those workers are supporting, I'm supporting 8.5 people back in Jamaica.
Well, when I leave Jamaica and come here on this farm to work, it's more better for you. It's more better for us in Canada because you earn money to take care of your family.
He's got 11 children back home. He has 3 sets of twins. His wife had developed brain cancer when the last set of twins were 2 years old and she died. He lost his house. The arrangement he had, he didn't have anything on paper to say that that was his, and so he lost where he was living, and he's starting all over again.
Working in Canada helped me to get this house, to fix up the way how I want it, you know? Yeah.
After Kevin has lost everything in his previous marriage of 15 years, it wouldn't be so fast for him if he wasn't working at Morris Farm to start all over again within a space of few years or so. Yes, he has accomplished this piece of land and house, and if it wasn't for Morris Farm, it couldn't have happened, because working in Jamaica, it's hard.
Kevin has a boy who's 5 years old, who's got sickle cell anemia. He said that it costs him $500 a month for the medication to keep that boy alive. He said, without this program, boss, he said, my boy dies. That's what it means to Kevin Thomas.
I like the program for continue that we can have a better life for my wife and my kids them. So because the program help us a lot, you know, help us a lot, you know. Yeah.
And trust me, it's like $8,000 for a blood test. Yes. And we have to go into Kingston to get the medical done. Now we ask for it to done down here now. Yeah, and the next thing now they're gonna close down the clinic in August. So we're gonna even have it rougher. But thank God for Murray's work. Yes. That employer, Mr. Murray Porches, God bless him.
Kevin Thomas wants the minister to know that this program is important to him, to his family, and to his son. He's been buying land and planting coffee and keeping livestock so that he can support himself when he's done working in the program. But for the 12 or so years that he's worked here, he's done a great job. He's a great guy to work with. We really appreciate him, and we know we're making a big difference back home in his family.
Mr. Murray, I don't know you, but I love you so much. I said, Kevin, you have the best boss. And Kevin come and tell me anything about him. I say, yes, thumbs up to Mr. Murray. I love you, Mr. Murray. Yeah. Thank you for helping my husband, so that he can take care of his family. He's a good dad. He's a cut above the rest. I love you too, Kevin.
It's a different culture than it is in Canada. Here you try and get ahead. Everybody's trying to get ahead. Whereas in a developing country, if somebody has to come from their family to work in Canada, then a brother-in-law maybe is tending their crops, or a sister's looking after their livestock. Those people are all part of the process. So when those people send money back home that are working here, they're sending it to their community. And the community comes ahead, not the individual. So it's a different cultural mentality.
Ces gens-là sont de la famille pour nous. Pour nous, ils travaillent à côté de nous, ils ont les mêmes valeurs que nous. Puis à la fin de la journée, c'est vraiment le fun d'avoir un ami comme ça. Ils deviennent absolument des amis. J'ai un énorme respect pour ces gens-là. C'est une inspiration pour moi de voir ce qui est accompli ici à la ferme et à la maison pour eux. José est arrivé il y a 6 ans maintenant. On lui a donné des outils pour se valoriser un peu mieux. On lui a donné des outils pour ramener au Guatemala et puis remonter sa famille un petit peu. Il donnait près de la moitié de son salaire à l'Église. Et puis il a vite réalisé que donner la moitié de son salaire à l'Église fournissait absolument aucun bénéfice à sa famille. Au lieu de donner la moitié de son salaire à l'Église, il a construit une école. La première école secondaire dans son comté. Sa fille, c'est la première personne dans son comté à aller à l'école secondaire que lui a construit.
These people are better than I am. They have struggled in where they come from. They have not got the better things of life, and they have left their families, which is huge sacrifice to come here and help our industry in Canada.
These people are treated well. They want to be here, and they help our economy thrive and move into the future.
On a personal level, I mean, I'm a people person.
Josh he don't come like a boss, he come like a brother with us, right? Because even when Josh come to Jamaica, he don't go to a hotel, he come to our house. Who don't have a vehicle, he take cab with us. Josh, we just respect Josh.
These guys, you know, we've been working together for 14 years, and now I've traveled down there this year. Hopefully, I go. Will be year number 5. So, like every time I go to everyone's house. You know, I know their neighbors, I know their brothers, I know their cousins, I know their, you know, so I'm invested quite heavily in their personal lives, and so they mean a lot to me.
This is human, like, we're all humans, right? First of all, right? We gotta take care of each other, you know. Doesn't matter how much money you have, it's not go with you.
Well, one of the best things for me, like every year I come here, I learn something more, right? And coming here on the farm, I like me to a lot of stuff that I want to dream of. Since I come here, I learn a lot.
We argue about who is benefiting the most out of the relationship, and so yeah, they mean a lot to me personally, for sure, because they're friends, and I mean they're like. Their family.
This program is a life changer for a lot of people, not just in the Caribbean. I know if I can say if you were talking to a Mexican, they could say the same thing also. There's so much opportunity for these guys to make something of themselves. They can do things that they wouldn't normally be able to do for their families. We are grateful for the opportunity.
When you come into a country as a stranger and are treated the way that we are treated, you know, you honestly don't have a lot to, there's no negatives, in other words, so there's not a lot to add or to take away from that other than to say thanks for having us here and for giving us the opportunity, you know, to do the things that we've done.
At the end of the day, as the farm winds down and the greenhouses close for the night, the stories are expressed over and over by both worker and host about growing friendships, about real loyalty, about family and future, about the heartbeat that grows stronger every day down on the farm.
On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world.
Let's get going again. I have a motion moved by Councilor Rabbit, seconded by Councilor Geisens, that council reconvene in open session at 4:33 p.m. All those in favor? That's carried. Next, on to the reports of committees. First motion's been moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Van Passen, that council approve the recommendation of the Recreation Facilities Advisory Board to provisionally name the project the ALL, Abilities, Lifestyles, and Learning Norfolk Community Hub. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Next motion, that the Recreational Facility Advisory Board minutes from the June 3rd, 2019 meeting be received as information. Moved by Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Van Passen. All those in favor? Carried. Motion moved by Councillor Micheli, seconded again by Councillor Van Passen, that the Norfolk Heritage Committee minutes from April 29th, 2019 be received as information. All those in favor? Carried. Motion moved by Councillor Van Passen, seconded by Councillor Martin, that the Norfolk Environmental Advisory Committee minutes from May 13th, 2019 be received as information. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Rabbits and seconded by Councillor Geisens, that the Norfolk Environmental Advisory Committee minutes from the February 11th, 2019 meeting be received as information. Councillor Micheli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a couple of questions about the minutes of that meeting, if I can ask those. And frankly, I'm not sure if there's anyone here who is going to be able to answer these questions, but I just wanted to bring them up. I'm going through the minutes, and just so council can follow along with me on our agenda package 52. It indicates that under other business, there was an item discussed, and it indicates that they put forward a motion to require council to comply with a specific item, and I'm questioning now. It appears, even though it doesn't say in the minutes, I'm wondering if that is a recorded vote that took place there. Also, I do believe that one of the individuals is indicated as a Jill Hill, and the members present, I believe that it should be a Jim Hill, unless there are two people with different names on that committee and one's been left out. Kind of puzzled by that. My main query, Madam Mayor, about this meeting is that the vote, there was a recorded vote under the other business. It appears to be a recorded vote, and I'm only, again, guessing that this is a recorded vote, and I recognize that these are minutes and not transcripts, but I noticed that all other things that were voted on, and whether or not, and carried, they are not recorded. So I think it is usual, and maybe I'll just ask Mr. Clerk if I'm correct, that in minutes of any committee that a recorded vote is recorded as being a recorded vote. Is that correct?
Through you, Mayor. Yes, it would be correct. So if somebody asked for a recorded vote, normally you would. One of the things with the advisory committees is we're working with them to get them more on a template of how we normally do the minutes. So things like that don't arise as frequently. They sometimes have some differences.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. And that's kind of where my questions are. I'm just trying to, in a way, and I understand that committees do have that issue, and I certainly understand it. I'm on several committees myself, but I guess what I'm trying to get to now is that it appears that this is a recorded vote. The vote appears to have been 4-1 by the members present. I am wondering, and again, there's no way for me to know this, it appears as though the chair did not vote, and therefore I guess I'm asking, and Mr. Clerk, maybe I'll direct this to you as well. Would it be likely or probable that the chair of a committee, depending on the terms of reference, which I'm not privy to for this committee, by the way, would the chair would not vote and therefore would not be considered to be an abstention because they're not indicated as voting for or against this particular motion.
Through you, Madam Mayor. It often happens where chairs in some of the committees won't get involved unless their vote is the deciding vote. So in this case, though, and in all cases, if they don't have a conflict of interest, they're voting on the negative side. So they would be recorded as a no vote on that. And if it was a recorded vote and they didn't raise their hand, that is where they should have gone.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just trying to figure this out again, so that I would take it that if this is a recorded vote, really, those opposed, there should be 2 opposing votes. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Shelley. I'm kind of glad you bring this up, actually, because also the way that I'm assuming that the committee also would have to they follow our rules of procedure, do they not? So to add a motion directly under other business also wouldn't be in line with our rules of procedure.
No, such things should be listed on the agenda.
And I also find it almost a bit, I don't know if insulting is the word, that the suggestion that council would not comply with the Environmental Assessment Act when that is in fact a legal requirement of all municipalities. In any event, we are simply receiving the minutes of the advisory committee as information only. So that's been moved by Councillor Rabbits and seconded by Councillor Geisens. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, next one is that the Tourism and Economic Development Advisory Board minutes from the May 27th meeting be received as information, moved by Councillor Martin and seconded by Councillor Rabbits. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor Chop. Just a quick comment on E. The minutes discuss reducing food waste compost programs, local farmers, connecting with restaurants for local farmers who can utilize the compost, and so on and so forth. I attended a great event at Fanshawe College where we had learned about agriculture in the community, and I just think that this is very well timed when we have a waste management report coming back prior to budget. So just a note to my councillors that I will be sending this section of the minutes along to Marissa in Waste Management as she compiles a waste management compost green waste report for us. That's all.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried. Next is a motion moved by Councillor Martin and seconded by Councillor Van Passen that the Meisner Dam Task Force minutes from the May 28th meeting 2019 be received as information. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving on is our first staff report, and that's staff report CAO 19-24 regarding the Friday the 13th licensing and delegation and fees. I'm assuming Mr. Cridlin, you're presenting that report? Or yourself, sorry. Andy.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to highlight for council, this one was really one where we took a lot of direction from council. So council really wanted us to go out and collaborate with the community, provide some innovative, different manners to look at this. And I think I'm very excited about this approach, and we got very good feedback from the community stakeholders. There is one amendment, 2 amendments that I have from council members that I'm just going to kind of read out for you to consider. That bylaw 2019-55 be amended through the addition of Murray Cook to act as an agent on behalf of the municipality, and that Section 9 of the bylaw 2019-56 be amended through the replacement of the medical officer of health with a medical officer of health. So those are the kind of 2 amendments that I had councillors bring up to me, and I think staff are in full agreement with those.
Thanks, Eddie. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor Chop. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank the clerk's office, Mr. Griselle, as well as the rest of the staff included on this report. I was able to have a few meetings with community stakeholders to discuss this, and to say that they are pleased and thrilled with this report would be an understatement. I have since received many calls and text messages stating that it was the best meeting they've ever had with Norfolk County. So kudos to staff. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Martin. I would echo that sentiment. Anything further from anyone else? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Next is, let me just stand by here. Okay, I guess we're moving on now to the public hearings, but what time is it? We're 4:43, I think we're too early. So, did you want to go ahead with the Meisner Dam motion? Okay, we'll skip ahead to that. All right, so Councillor Martin, if you would like to present your motion.
I would. Thank you, Mayor Chop. This motion comes forward to you 2 weeks ago as a notice of motion. I believe that this council is no stranger to Meisner Dam and the happenings. The report from the task force came forward as information to you all. I believe that we're ready to have this discussion. Councillor Van Passen and I have been working alongside a group of dedicated community members with various skills and trades who have compiled this report. Again, a lot of support and staff time went into the task force report. Meetings and accommodations were made to gather information and present it to the members of the community. So at this time, I would like to put the motion on the floor that we retender the repairs to the dam, and I look forward to further comments from my colleagues. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Martin. Councillor Michelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a number of comments here. I just have to say that I think that this solution that the task force has come up with and proposed here, along with Councillors Martin and Van Passen, is just such a shining example of the what happens when you have collaboration between the county and community groups. It's just such an excellent example of the results of effective teamwork, and I'm just so pleased that we are going forward. I know that the public has been kind of waiting on this forever, honestly, and to see this laid out in such straightforward fashion, and so many of the points that the task force has put together in the documentation that we were provided with really make it look like this is the way that we want to go forward. I also just want to commend the organization of the way the task force put this together, and I am now referring to some documents that that we received last week, and I don't know if council has those in front of them, but there is a roadmap that's being created to just show all of the things that kind of are expected to happen during the course of this process. And it's such an easy way to follow what will happen and what should happen. And I think that it's such a useful document for both the public and council. And I really like the way that it kind of ends the roadmap after month 30 on this. So we've got some kind of reasonable timelines. I think sometimes the public can get a bit frustrated with so many county projects and council projects that have these, deadlines or dates that are off in the future that are never identified or finalized, and I like this one. And it ends with the comment that the work must be completed within these specific time windows due to regulatory requirements. So I think that we can really quite rest assured that this is a project a long time coming, and definitely something that we would like to look at. And in fact, the way that this whole report is kind of put together, I like this roadmap so much. I'm hoping it might be considered as a regular routine, at least for alerting staff and council about the way that certain projects are going to go. So I'm so happy and I'm so pleased to be able to support this motion. Thank you.
Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Just to follow up with Councillor Michelle's good points, the notice of motion, the original notice of motion on May 28th, did contain some supplementary information that's not in our current agenda this evening, to include the introduction of the working group and what the task force had reviewed. There's a number of different documents in there, and I was also impressed with the amount of research that's gone in to that group, and I thank my fellow councillors for conducting that research. The working group also met with individuals of SNC Lavalin, Long Point Region Conservation Authority, to name a few others, and those are listed in that supplementary document. The task force put forward a number of different conclusions that were also well received, in addition to their recommendations that were outlined in a project plan, or a roadmap as they called it, at the back of that supplementary document. So again, if you would like to apprise yourself of that information, it was made available to us through a notice of motion on May the 28th. I also want to pay some kudos here to that group for creating an ability to pass the torch on to the Silver Lake Revitalization Project team. So there's a clear delineation of what is Norfolk County's obligations and responsibilities for this project. We've taken on the repair of the dam, should this motion be successful, and it clearly outlines the different organizations that would be involved in revitalizing Silver Lake and some of the benchmarks that would be involved in that process. Of course, the first step in that process is repairing the dam, and that's what hopefully we're going to achieve tonight. So I am in support of the motion, and again, I just wanted to highlight some of the additional information that was provided to us on May the 28th. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments put forward for my colleagues, and now I would like to take this time to echo some of those same comments, that the findings basically of the task force from this point forward, and the statement of understanding that has been shared with us and signed by many community stakeholders and it would be that this is a massive community undertaking to look at the revitalization of the lake, and the community is aware that this is not an overnight fix, that this is a long-term solution to repair and revitalize the lake to their standards. Additionally, that they are looking for the county to make repairs to the dam so that this group can then go forward and assess the lake, at which point they will come to council on a case-by-case basis. They're not looking for council to be overly involved in the revitalization of the lake, more so they're looking for us to make a commitment to repair the dam. So at this point in time, that group can go forward and see through their commitments and the other community members' commitments to the lake. Thank you.
Anything further? Okay, we'll call the vote. Sorry, that was moved by Councillor Martin, a seconder. Councillor Van Passen, all those in favor? And that's carried unanimously for the Meisner Dam. I do just want to make a couple points since I didn't get to speak in the debate there. You know, I know we do have a large number of constituents that do have a different view of the situation with the dam, and I think a number of them make valid points. And I do stand by my original position that I think it would have been better for us to seek out those approvals and ensure the feasibility. However, the facts that, you know, we now have the commitment from the major community stakeholders in Port Dover that they are, you know, agreeing that this will not be Norfolk County's responsibility to revitalize Silver Lake, and this will be a community effort in Port Dover. I think that says a lot moving forward. So, Meisner Dam's getting fixed. Okay. Next one. I guess then, did we want to break for a couple minutes, or maybe we'll break for 20 minutes right now and then come back to it?
On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just a place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Up north on a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road. You're bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road. You're bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road. You're bound to be back for more. Of no
Okay, I'd now like to officially open the public meetings held under the Municipal Act and the Planning Act. A reminder to those residents that desire to address council tonight to write your full name and address when you come forward to the podium. Those speaking on planning matters, please be advised that to preserve your right to appeal to the local planning appeals tribunal, you are required to make comments or provide written submissions prior to the passage of a bylaw. First up is staff report DCS 19-60. This is in regards to an application that has been received to add a holding provision to the subject lands. Margaret and Gerald Holohan and agent Stan Pajor have put forth the application affecting the lands described as 172 Mechanic Street. I know I didn't pronounce any of that properly. I now open the public meetings on staff report DCS 19-60. Alicia, or Shannon, is that? Okay, Alicia, thanks.
This is an application to add a holding provision to the subject lands, and it is required as a condition of 2 consent applications. The H can be removed when the Waterford wastewater treatment plant upgrade is complete. The lands are 0.4 acres in size and front onto the south side of Mechanic Street West in Waterford, and they are vacant. The lands are designated urban residential and zoned urban residential type 1A. No public input was received for this application. The applicants had the opportunity to wait until the plant upgrade was complete to finalize the severance, but they wanted to finish it now so that they could list it for sale, which is why the holding was required. This application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the official plan, and represents good planning. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Thank you, Ms. Call. Questions of council? My apologies. Are the applicants or agent in attendance? Would you like to speak? No? Okay. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak in favor of the application? Are there any members of the public that wish to speak in general or against the application? Any further questions of council? Can I have a verbal motion to close the public meeting? Councillor Huffman, seconded by Councillor Taylor. All those in favor? And is there somebody that would like to move the staff recommendation or propose an alternative? Councillor Ravitz, and seconded by Councillor Huffman. All those in favor? Carried. Next is staff report DCS 19-61. That's an application that's been received to amend special provision to permit a business expansion. MC Engineering, on behalf of Longhorn Distributors, have put forth the application affecting the lands described as 1150 and 1154 Victoria Road. I now open the public meeting on staff report DCS 19-61. And Ms. Call, is that you again? Thank you.
This is an application to permit the expansion of Scotland Commodities. The office area is proposed to increase to 2,900 square meters, and a special provision is to be extended to include the existing parking area. The subject lands are 3.1 acres in size and front onto the south side of Victoria Road. The lands are designated agricultural and zoned agricultural with special provision 14.233. No public input was received, and this is the first Greenlight Team zoning bylaw amendment that will be heard by council. The subject application is consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the official plan, and represents good planning. This application will allow for the expansion of a successful business in Norfolk County. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Next is staff report DCS 19-62. That's in regards to an application that has been received to amend the official plan and zoning bylaws to permit 2 accessory dwelling units per lot with site-specific provisions. Sunfield Homes Limited and Agent Civic Planning Solutions have put forth the application affecting the lands described as 66 to 72 Evergreen Hill Road. I now open the public meeting on staff report DCS 19-62. And Ms. Call, if you could please present your report.
This is an application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw to permit 2 accessory dwelling units per lot in the basements of each existing semi-detached dwelling for a total of 4 additional units. The subject lands comprise 2 lots fronting onto the south side of Evergreen Hill Road in Simcoe. The lands contain 2 semi-detached dwellings, and they are designated urban residential and zoned neighborhood commercial with special provision 14.815. This application was refused by council in August 2018. Staff supported it at that time and are of the opinion that it's consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the official plan, and represents good planning, and the applicant did choose to resubmit to try again. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Thank you, Ms. Call. I have a question. What was the basis when council refused it previously? Mr. Geisens, do you remember? Probably not. I know it's one application and amongst many.
There was a lot of public input, and I think that's why council refused it.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of councilors? Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mayor Chop. Through you to Ms. Call, was the public made aware that this file was coming back on a second circulation?
Through the mayor, yes, it was a new application, so it went through the process all over again.
Any further questions? I see Mr. Rowe is here today.
Yes, good evening. This is return of an application. Much of the discussion last year seemed to be more related to drainage and grading and impact on the neighboring property to the south. Since that time, the building has essentially been completed. The landscaping and grading hasn't been finalized because it's tied into the commercial side of the property to the west of the site. I went through the staff report and the planner has detailed very specifically how the application conforms to the provincial policy statement line by line and how it complies with the intent of the county official plan. What's being proposed is there's 4 semi-units, and then there will be 4 accessory apartments, 1-bedroom apartment in the lower portion of the building. In all likelihood, these again will be all rental units, and in all likelihood, they will be occupied by a single person because there is a shortage in the town of Simcoe, for single bedroom apartments. The upstairs in the units are 3-bedroom, and we expect you would probably get younger families or people who need the extra bedroom. What the relief is about is dealing with being able to accommodate a 3rd parking space. And by having the 3rd parking space, you reduce the landscaping from 50% to 35%. In my opinion, this does represent good planning. There is a chronic shortage of rental accommodation in our urban areas in the county. These will be, again, brand new units, and I think it's certainly in the public interest to provide rental accommodation within our community. Those are my comments. If there's any questions, I'd be pleased to answer.
Okay. I saw Councilor Martin's hand and then Councilor Rabbit's.
Thank you, Mayor Chop. To Mr. Rowe, just looking for clarification, there are 4 dwellings, 2 units. Is that
there
correct?
are 2 semi-buildings, and each semi has 2 units.
So there will be 4 separate homes inside these 2 units, cumulatively.
Okay, there will be
The reason why I
3-bedroom units.
The reason why I ask is because I heard Ms. Call, I believe I heard Ms. Call say 2 units, 4 dwellings, and then I thought I just heard you say 4 semi-units, which threw me up.
Yeah.
Different terminology.
Each semi has 2 units, so there's 2 semis, 4 dwelling units with 4 accessory apartments. That's correct.
Councilor Abbott.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you to our agent putting forward this application. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So I've done a little bit of research on this particular application. If you were interested in the original debate, it was contained in DCS 18-79, and there was a debate that took place August 28th of 2018. If you were to go to the YouTube video that's posted, you'll see the debate really begin in earnest on part 2 of 7 videos at about the 48-minute mark. I've spoken with the applicant regarding the application, and I had advised to engage with our planning staff, and I'm very happy that that has taken place, and it seems that it was a fruitful discussion leading to this evening. My thoughts were more in line with what Councillor Height and Councillor Sonnenberg had said about the application pertaining to affordable housing. I think this is a good project, and I just want to provide a little bit of that information before I lead into my question. I do have one.
Okay.
I want to ask if the entrance to the basement apartments is still to be from the rear, and if you feel that you know, there's adequate drainage, or if there's going to be a sidewalk, or if the entranceway, you know, if there's any modification as to the original application. Has anything changed in the interim? Because those were some of the concerns that were brought forward that evening. We're specifically referring to the parking spaces, the access from the rear to the basement apartment, and some of the concerns about maybe going through the green space or around the side of the garage, I believe. But I want to provide you an opportunity maybe to mention that.
Yeah, accessory apartments have to have a separate entrance and not at the front. So there will be a sidewalk leading to the along the side of the unit to the back doors to which will provide access to those individual units. So yeah, that's the way under the bylaw, as well as set out even in provincial regulations. That's one of the requirements of an accessory unit.
Thank you. Makes sense to me, and I am in support of the application as well. Thanks for providing that additional information.
Thank you.
Councillor Michelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is for Mr. Rowe. Thank you for your presentation. I'm just looking, I was looking through the proposal, and I just couldn't help but notice that in your initial remarks, you did not refer to the basement apartments as intended for affordable housing.
Yeah, the term affordable housing is almost a copyrighted word, and I've learned that in some of the other municipalities I do work in. It usually refers to provincial programs for affordable housing. So, and under those programs, the municipality provides the developer with money to build affordable housing. But what happens is municipalities usually run out of money before, and there's not enough money to go around. And in this case, there, as I understand, no money in Norfolk for affordable housing under the provincial program. The Haldeman Norfolk Housing Authority, I know, have one project in Dunville, but that's about it. It will be affordable in that they will be paying market rents, and we're probably looking for the one-bedroom units somewhere in the $800 a month range.
So thank you, and Madam Mayor, through you. So these then are really not what we would refer to as affordable housing. Well, I think, and I take your point that I think when we see that word, and Council has talked about this, and I know I personally have spoken many times about the crisis we have in affordable housing in Norfolk County. So these units really would not really be a partial solution to that particular crisis, because they'll be rented at market rates.
They're going to be, but what you find is the more rental units that come on the market, let's say people that may be in smaller units, move out of those and may be able to afford these units. and because they're newer units are more desirable to be in, which then opens up more spaces in other units as well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one more. Mr. Rowe, you mentioned that these basement apartments would typically be suitable or rented by single individuals, but there
could be a couple.
There could be a couple.
Yeah.
There could be even three, possibly. A young couple with a baby, something like that's possible. I'm just wondering if there's any concern or if you've given any consideration to the density of the possible number of people in what is really a relatively small space, especially with regard to the outdoor areas, the backyards and that kind of thing.
Yes, there is, the planner outlines in her report, a fair amount of green space, certainly more green space than you would get in an apartment building. So I do think from that perspective, in all likelihood it will be the folks upstairs with the 3 bedrooms that, again, there's still a fair amount of amenity areas on the property itself. So I am confident that way. And there's also a likelihood of more seniors wanting to, even though they can handle the stairs, looking for and getting a 1-bedroom apartment and selling their homes and that type of thing. Because at this point, and having terms of quality of apartment, these will be, again, being brand new, and you look at what's in the market for rental, these will certainly kind of be the pick of the crop, so to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. You kind of anticipated my next question. I was going to ask how accessible are these if they are for people with disabilities or seniors?
Okay, they won't be handicapped accessible under the Act simply because they have to be at the either in the basement or they're always accessory units are up above, so you have that aspect of it. But there certainly will be more accessible than you would have in a lot of, especially the downtown apartments and things like that. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Any further questions from councillors? Is there anyone else in attendance that wishes to speak in favor of the application? Is there anyone that wishes to speak in general or against the application? If you could come forward, sir. You could please state your name and address for the record.
David Baldock, number 10, 409 Queen Street, South Simcoe, Ontario, N3Y0A1. I'm a neighbor. Thank you for your time today, Council. I managed to look at the website and see that you have 264 pages to deal with today. And we only have to deal with 40 now, so 40 is easy to handle. I'm concerned about the basement apartments in these units. It seems to me for Simcoe, the indwell model in supplying small housing in Simcoe or for the housing crisis is a much better model for Simcoe. And we've just had 40 new units be approved in downtown Simcoe. That's the kind of thing that I think that we should be doing rather than what they're doing here, which is putting people in basements. I can understand the provincial government's reason for suggesting that second units on properties is a good idea. I think in the reading that I've had, granny flats help families stay together. There's no intention for that here. There's also an indication that infilling will increase the finances for the town. Great. If you take a larger property and has one home on it and demolish it and put in some condos, and you can take a $1 million property with one house on it and put 22 condos on it and increase the tax base by a lot, like 11 million, like 500,000 a unit, then you've increased your tax base. But these units are not going to increase the tax base. So if we're thinking this, they may even lower the value of the property if you've got 2 units in there. third main item is the general understanding of the fire code. I believe it says you should have 2 exits. These basement apartments do not have what I can see as 2 viable exits. And then there's the parking concern. There's no visible parking for the visitor parking on the property for these units. And the application here wants you to give them 4 more parking spots and take away some of the green space. Those are my general comments. I'd like to move to the particular papers that you received and be more specific so that I can refer to those. I'll start on page 120. At the top of the page, the bottom of my page, 119, the statement starts, apartment buildings are located to the north and open green space area to the west. And I would ask the planner if she could explain or show the staff here what the open green space to the west is.
I don't think, unfortunately, you get to ask questions of the planner, but one of the counselors
Perhaps the counselor,
afterwards
one of the
might be
counselor
able
would ask that,
to ask
please.
that. So let's finish with your,
Okay, that's
if you have
number
anything
1.
further to say. If not, I see a couple hands up already for you.
Okay. Continue on page 120. And that is where they refer to the firewall or the lack of firewall. So in the middle of 120, it says building and bylaw. Any future severance of the semis into 2 properties will be non-compliance with the Ontario code, and therefore, because the buildings are under construction. Specifically, the dividing vertical wall between the 2 semi-detached dwellings, where there's one dwelling unit above another dwelling unit, must be constructed with a firewall as defined. So then they say, the existing dividing party wall has not been constructed as a firewall. Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, maybe the fire department allows it, but why would you put people in a hazard situation when it would be so easy to say, that's a firewall? The only reason I can think the developer did this is because it's cheaper. Further down the page, it says under fire, no comments received. So I guess if they don't comment, then it would be your responsibility to be standing behind this and saying no firewall's okay. Moving further into the paperwork, I'll try to speed up here. On page 122, 2, 4, 6, 8, the 9th line from the bottom says the lots are large enough to accommodate additional units while maintaining adequate amenity space. The diagram, again, for this lot will show the smallness of that space. So I would question, call that a debatable statement. Moving on. Page 124. Line 7 down the page. So the last sentence in that paragraph. The reduced landscaping in the required front yard will be balanced by the adjacent open space area. So again, once we know what that open space area, just since we can't have a answer now, I will give the hint that the adjacent commercial area, which these 2 lots were taken away from, had a buffer zone, which was between our property and the new commercial building. It was supposed to be 4.5 meters wide. A recent meeting reduced that to 0.4 meters. Like that's almost 10% is left. 90% of the buffer was gone. This developer likes to get rid of space, buffer space. The sentence goes on to say, the mature trees are on surrounding properties. So don't they have a responsibility to supply their part of the green space? Should the neighbors supply the green space for this property? I hope you don't agree to do that. Okay, I'm up to page 126 and 127. The presenter hinted that we had these charts and they look so good because they've got all these check marks down the middle. It makes it very easy for you to go down. I've gone through all of them, and rather than drag you through all of them, most of those check marks I can find some debatable item. So dealing with 126 and 127, there are 9 check marks. 2 of them I agree with. So number 4, which is the water mains, and number 5 is the development of schools and parks. You know, general statements that always exist. But 4 of them, you may as well leave them out. They don't need to be there. They don't apply. It says doesn't apply, doesn't apply, doesn't apply. So don't think these check marks are saying, hey, this is great, this is great, this is great. It doesn't apply. Now, the main ones are number 2 and number 7. And in number 2, it talks about buffering, and on the staff comment, additional buffering and setbacks are not necessary. Well, again, please look at the diagrams and see if setbacks and buffering is not necessary. Under number 7, it says the development shall be designed and landscaped, and buffering shall be provided to ensure that visual impact of the development on adjacent uses is minimized. Okay. Now, staff comment. The development has been designed in such a way that resembles low-density residential development. Perhaps you could ask, how does this resemble? What does low-density residential development look like? It says the doors for the accessory dwelling units will be located to the rear so that visually the buildings will appear as semi-detached dwellings. Note, it doesn't say the buildings from the front will appear that way, but that's what I think the intention is. We are concerned with the vision from the back, and there is these things tower over our buildings, and therefore that presents a real concern for us. As a result, the visual impacts of the development on adjacent uses will be minimized. To say that these buildings are minimally affecting us is an understatement. And I will leave those pages unless you have questions. I have comments for this next 2 pages about these things, but I will skip on to get to the finality of this. So the charts, have I made my point that the check marks, you need to read them carefully. Don't believe that they're just, oh, that's good, that's good, that's good.
Sir, I'm going to have to press you to move on here a little bit.
I'm moving as fast as I can because there's so much wrong with this. Could I move to Appendix A, I think, for you? I don't have the copy you have, but on page 137, maybe this is, yes, I've got a black copy. You may, okay. On page 137, that would be where, at the bottom of this page, you'll see a number on the bottom. It says 4/4/2019. So I think this is referring to a current date of this year, and I would like you to ask whether there's a green space on that diagram, or if this date, well, anyway, work that out. There's a picture somewhere. Okay. Yes. So page 138, there's the one I couldn't find this earlier. Page 138, you'll see a date, 4/3/2019. And the question is that a picture of that time of the year, or is that a date saying that's when this was printed? Because I think this 2019 was when it was printed. The picture is probably from 2016 or 15, something like that, a long time ago. And the reason I say that is if you look at the picture at the corner of Evergreen Hill Road and Queen Street South, along Queen Street, there appears to be a black line parallel to Queen Street on the right-hand side, and there's nothing there. It's sort of green space. I guess that's the green space. You can draw a square in there about 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch on the town property, because for the last year we have had a building construction on the town property occupying that space, and it does cause some problems with the driving in that area, but there's nothing done about it. I've been in contact with the bylaw people. Page 139 then. Please look at this page. Again, I had the question, if you look at the parking spaces on this diagram, so take the right-hand diagram, they've got one parking space. How can I describe this? Let's start on the right-hand side of everything here. So if you look at the parking spaces, there's an X and it's covering a certain space. Then beside it, in front of the garage, there's a second space, and it's completely different size. Why? I don't understand why. If it's a parking space, if we're assigning parking, so many meters, square meters, then that should have been the same size. But maybe you can ask why they're different. Coming to that diagram, underneath, on the diagram it says subject lands, and there is a space between two shaded areas. As far as I understand, the shaded area is the driving section, and the white space is the open space. I measured that today, and that's 5.4 meters underneath the word subject land. So there's 5.4 meters there of curb. And on the other side, where there's this big gap, underneath the words proposed driveway and parking, there is a 3-meter curb. The curb is 3 meters long. So there's something wrong with this diagram. There's too big a difference between those for the numbers on the diagram. So something's not quite right. Now, do you have coloring on that diagram? There should be a diagram. Oh, no, that's Appendix A. Okay, that's all I have to say there. Thank you. Last item is the colored diagram you've got in Appendix A, which is produced by Mr. Rowe, I believe. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay. So when you look at this diagram, and again, I'm not an expert here, and I don't intend to try to tell you what to do, but I'm a logical person, and it doesn't seem very logical. From what I can tell of this, there's a sidewalk there. So looking at underneath the word road, there's a double line. I think that's the curb. Then there's a sidewalk, which is the thicker 2 lines. And that's colored in pink. Now it says approved original parking. We're going to have people, with this material, they're telling you, they're going to be parking on the sidewalk. So I think that could be a question you could ask and say, I don't think that's the case. So that pink is misleading. And then I've commented about the different sizes of the regular ones and the green space left over. The last thing, since this diagram is right here, one of the comments was made that when people go to the back of when they go to the back of this building in order to get to their new home, they're going to have to walk along the side, and therefore, I conclude, eventually they will be taking more of the green space away because they're not going to shovel grass all winter long. They're going to have to, I would think it would be sensible to put in something that you could shovel reasonably. So the green space is going to be further reduced, although technically not reduced because we don't define sidewalks as part of our green space, I don't think, probably. And I'm ready for questions, yes,
Councillor Huffman, I saw your hand up there a while ago. Did you forget it? Okay, Councillor Martin, did you have something? Did I see your hand as well? Councillor Michelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This question I have for staff. I am curious.
Sorry, you know what? Just not for staff, just for the deputation.
Okay, I can't ask.
No, we're going to go through the right order here. You'll come back to that eventually.
Then, Mr. Baldock, I do believe, I'm just going to ask, did you make a deputation at the previous public hearing for this application?
I did. I'd be curious to Mr. Rabbits, did you see me in the deputation?
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, if you could have a seat, sir. Thank you.
Could I just have my last paragraph, then I have a last paragraph. So I would make the point that you make the decision. Just because the provincial government has made this possible, it does not mean you have to grant this. When you pass this proposal, you're saying that you think this will provide important living space in Simcoe. I do not believe this is the best way to supply living space in Simcoe. Thank you for your
Thanks,
time.
sir. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in general or against the application? Okay, are there any further questions from council to staff at this point? Councillor Michelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is just kind of a general question that I have had for some time, and Mr. Baldock's presentation just brought it to mind right now. So I just want to ask staff through you, Madam Mayor, if I could have an explanation as to, on the chart of suitability for various applications, why check marks are given to categories that do not apply to a particular application.
Through the mayor, technically they all apply, so we can say it conforms to it or it doesn't. If it doesn't apply, then it's not against the application, I guess, would be the best way to put it.
Madam Mayor, so Alicia, if I understand, so if on the right-hand column, if it says this does not apply, but if we put a check mark on it, I'm just a bit puzzled about that policy.
Through the mayor, I guess it's saying that policy is satisfied.
Madam Mayor, another question. Madam Mayor, I just threw you to staff also. The dates that are on the pictures, the photographs in the staff report here, are those dates the dates that the photos were taken, or are they actually the date that the photograph was included in the package?
Through the mayor, they're the date that GIS created the maps. All the air photos are from 2015.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councillor Hoffman? Councillor Hoffman.
Sorry, thank you, Madam Mayor. I saw Councillor Taylor's hand up, so I thought he was ahead of me. I do recall now what I wanted to ask. Would it be fair to say that every necessary requirement through our fire department bylaws would be met with these units?
Through the mayor, that's correct because it's covered by the building code.
Okay, thank you. So there's the exits are enough, the fire doors in terms of the apartment, all of those things, there's no kind of stone left unturned that they don't meet these requirements?
Through the mayor, that is correct.
Correct. Okay, thank you.
Councillor, sorry, was there Councillor Martin next? Did you have your hand, I think?
Councillor Huffman spoke to my questions with fire-related concerns.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to staff, would the green space that's referred to be the old trail line that is in the pictures here?
Through the mayor, that's correct. That was my mistake. It should have said to the east, not to the west, but it's the area to the east that's zoned open space.
Thank you.
Any further? Councillor Rabbits?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. I did want to just affirm that if you were to do a quick Google search and look at the satellite view, you would see that it does appear to be a construction zone. We have some pictures before us, but not topographical. That might have been helpful when looking at the space. So right now, as it stands, there is no green space there. It's a dust pile around these units. Unfortunately, the developer has been held up with finalizing the project, and it's actually sat in this status for, I want to say, since the last application in August of last year. So, that's a concern of mine. I feel that at this juncture, really we are debating how many occupants are going to be allowed in the units and the parking spaces. That's really what we're talking about. Buildings are already up, sight lines have already been established, and there is no green space at present. So we're debating really how many are going to be allowed to reside in these units, and how many parking spaces are going to be allowed in addition to that. That's what this application is asking for. In terms of affordability, I would argue that apartment buildings are going to be at market value more affordable than a townhouse arrangement or a single detached home. So in that way, by providing different housing options. These are affordable housing units at fair market value for those who would be choosing to reside in an apartment as opposed to living in a townhouse arrangement where it's split right down the middle. So in that way, it is going to improve the housing stock in Norfolk County. It's a small amount of units that we are talking about after all, but in my opinion, we need to fight these smaller battles to start getting more units onto the market. And as the applicant, his agent, Mr. Rowe, said, when you provide this type of housing arrangement, you actually do free up another space. So if someone's looking to downsize, that jostling or that moving of domiciles or those that occupy them is going to free up another spot somewhere else in another marketplace, whether that be in a single detached house, a townhouse arrangement, something of that nature. So in that way, these are affordable units, appreciating they're not geared to rent income, they're not subsidized units, but they are going to create affordable housing stock that is currently in dire need in Norfolk County, and that's why I am supporting the application. Thank you.
Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor Chop. That was the comment. Councillor Roberts touched on it a little bit as well. And I think we need to remember that these are semi-detached units. They're not townhouses. They're not apartment buildings or anything, but they're semi-detached. And in terms of the indwell comment that was made by the deputation, these indwell housing is in terms of it's geared to income, it's subsidized, and it can be to some degree supported living. These are independent of that. These the individuals who would be buying or renting these semi-detached or living in the apartments would not be the same group of individuals who would be receiving supported living through the indwell living arrangement.
Thank you, Councillor Huffman. I just have the parking spaces. Could you just touch on that one for me, actually? I'm curious, because I thought it was a standard size for all of them.
So they look similar size to me. I don't think they asked for relief from the size of the parking spaces. So it might just be that they have the ones that look smaller are the minimum size, and then the other ones are just larger than what's required.
Okay, thanks. Can I have a verbal motion to close the public meeting? Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Rabbits. All those in favor? That's carried. And would somebody like to move the staff recommendation or propose an alternative? Councillor Rabbits, move the staff recommendation, seconded by Councillor Huffman. All those in favor? Sorry, was that a hand up, Councillor Michelli, to talk? Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried. Next is staff report DCS 19-71. This is in regards to an application that's been received to consider an amendment to the Norfolk County official plan and Norfolk County zoning bylaw 1Z 2014 to permit an overnight accommodation suite in an accessory building. Ray Jennings and Cheryl Mills and Agent Elder Plans Incorporated have put forth the application affecting the lands described as 23 Mole Side Road. I'd now like to open the public meeting on staff report DCS 19-71. Ms. Van Dalen.
Good evening, Mayor Chop, Council, and staff. This application is for an amendment to the property at 23 Mole Side Road to permit an overnight tourist accommodation on the property. It will be recognized on a site-specific basis and be located kind of at the rear of the property. There is an existing single detached dwelling there where the property owners do reside, and the intent is for the accommodations to be seasonal in nature. Through the designation, the property is identified as agricultural and within the Lakeshore Special Policy Area in our official plan and zoned agriculture. The amendment will apply a site-specific provision to the subject lands to recognize the use. Through the circulation and public notice, there was no comments or concerns raised by the public or from any of the departments and agencies. And through that, staff are recommending support of the application, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Okay, any questions of councilors? I just have one for you, actually, Ms. Van Dalen. So this is a unit within an existing building.
Through you, Mayor Chop, it is proposed to be added on to an existing building. So it's not, they've got an accessory building, and this will be added on to.
So they're constructing, they are constructing an addition.
They are doing some construction. It's more of an open concept, and I'm sure the proponent would be able to speak a little bit more detailed as to the extent of the building.
Okay, thanks. Any further questions? Okay, is the, Councillor Van Pass.
Madam Mayor, I just have to chuckle. It's zoned as agricultural land, and it's a lot in the middle of the provincial park that's surrounded by forests all the way around. So make sure you take that into context of when you look at this application.
Is the applicant or agent in attendance?
I'm Mary Elder, and the clients are here, Ray Jennings and Cheryl Mills. So basically, I was just going to answer questions, but the first thing that came up from Councillor Van Passen was about whether this accommodation would be attached to the building. It will not be attached to that accessory building. It's about a foot away from that. So it's to be constructed near it, but not as part of it. It is separate. There is, I'll call it 3 small structures that are joined by a deck. So one will be a sitting room, one will be the washroom, and one will be the bedroom. And there is a shower at one end of this deck. So it's very much a unique tourism accommodation. It's not anything that we have had, but it's meant to be secluded and exclusive. So a very elite type of tourist that we'll probably attract to this location. So with that, I think I'll leave it because I think the report covers everything. If you've got any questions, please ask.
Any questions from councillors? Okay, thanks, Mary. Is there anyone, do you wish to also speak to the application? No? Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of the application? Is there anyone that wishes to speak in general or in opposition to the application? Any further questions from councillors? Okay, in that case, if I could have a motion to close the public meeting, Councillor Huffman and Councillor Taylor, all those in favor? And that's carried. Would somebody like to move the staff recommendation or propose an alternative? Councillor Geisens is moving the staff recommendation, seconded by Councillor Taylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, I think that's it for public meeting. Should we take a break and have a bite to eat? All right, so we'll recess now for 20 minutes. And we'll start again at 20 after 6.
On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with a friendly With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. With hard work, we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger along. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger along. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road, bound to be back for more. Of no On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of North on a strip. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger.
Okay. Is everybody ready to get going again? First, we have a motion moved by Councillor Geisens and seconded by Councillor Rabbits that bylaws 2019-50 to bylaw 2019-56 inclusive, bylaw 5 OP 2019, bylaw 6 OP 2019, and bylaw 37-Z-2019 to bylaw 40-Z-2019 inclusive be approved, signed by the mayor and clerk, and affixed with the corporate seal. All those in favor? And that's carried. Moving on to other business. Oh, sorry, notice of motion. Councillor Van Passen, I believe you have a notice of motion. Or notice of motion or motion? A motion. Okay.
Do you want me to put this?
Well, you could waive the you could request for council to waive the 2/3 or waive our procedural rules based on 2/3, or you can file it as a notice of motion. I'll leave that to you.
It out, and I will ask council for the 2/3 majority to see if they'll accept it. It'd be a notice of motion so that it can come up next week, that staff be directed to present an amending bylaw to remove the delegation of final decision-making authority to the Integrity Commissioner and to ensure that all complainants are identified. So it's an amendment to our Integrity Commissioner bylaw. He is currently delegated all authority to implement penalties, and I know I've talked to a lot of you beforehand already that I think that should be in the hands of council, not in the hands of an independent Integrity Commissioner.
Councillor Michelli.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering if I could ask Councillor Van Passen just to repeat the motion again.
That staff be directed to present an amending bylaw to remove the delegation of final decision-making authority to the Integrity Commissioner and to ensure that all complainants are identified. If somebody wants to file in a complaint, that's identified in the report as well.
Councilor Shelley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering if Councillor Van Passen would maybe take as a friendly amendment, so we don't want to delegate the final authority to the Integrity Commissioner. Should we include then who we would delegate that authority to?
I am saying that council does not delegate that authority to anyone. Council will deal with that. The Integrity Commissioner report would be that. It would be a report. The final decision on any penalties or reprimand would be in the hands of council, not delegated to an outside person.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So that's kind of my point, Councillor Van Passen. I just wonder if we should put that language in there to be very clear.
If we're asking staff to bring back a report and we can discuss that, make changes at the time the report comes in, but staff's well aware of what we're looking for, so they word it a lot nicer than I do. So.
Okay, so to be clear, are we doing a notice of motion right now, or are we waiving the rules of procedural order? Well, 2 weeks, right? So any notice of motion filed this evening would be heard in 2 weeks. Councilor Shelley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just curious if I can ask Councillor Van Passen what the urgency would be to not put this off till next week.
I actually like to get things done and not drag it all out. It's a simple little amendment by deleting a couple of little lines in our Code of Conduct bylaw and the Integrity Commissioner bylaw. So it's all fresh in our mind. We've dealt with it today. Let's get it done.
Any further discussion? Okay, so did we want to take a vote then to see whether we're going to waive the rules of procedural order? Okay, so all those in favor to waive the rules of procedural order to hear the motion this evening, otherwise it will be placed on a notice of motion for 2 weeks. All those in favor? One. Okay, that's carried. Okay, so Councillor Van Passen has his motion. He needs a seconder. Councillor Martin. Any further discussion on the motion? Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wondering, the motion including the complainants aspect of it, that we find it with a complainant, is I cannot support it if it's including that. However, I do quite like the Integrity Commissioner not being judge, jury, and executioner in this process. I think that council should have an input on that as well, but as long as the motion includes complainants, I can't be supported.
Councillor Van Passen.
Again, when staff bring back the report, I think that would be the time to discuss that, and maybe we can find something that everybody can be happy with. So.
Councillor Rabbits.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, I'll be supporting the motion, appreciating that we will have a staff report coming back to us. What I would appreciate is having a full copy of the bylaw on our blotters and what is to be removed and what is to be added to that document. If that could be arranged, that'd be very appreciated. I do support the motion, considering our previous council was the ones who established this bylaw, and they did delegate some authority, and we're going to have an opportunity as a group to debate that issue and make our own decision. I think this is going to be a good exercise for us to go through, and having that bylaw before us will provide us an opportunity really to review it in its entirety. And so that's what I would be expecting when this comes back before us.
Thank you, Councillor Rabbits. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My request would actually be that we are provided with that bylaw in our agenda packages, not on the blotter, just to have more time.
It will be, for sure. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried unanimously. I think your hand was up, wasn't it? Okay. Okay, now I guess we'll move into closed session. Motion moved by Councillor Rabbit, seconded by Councillor Van Passen, that council move into closed session at 6:44 p.m. to discuss matters pursuant to sections 239, 2B, D, and K of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, as the subject matter pertains to personal matters of an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, labor relations or employee negotiations, and a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on or behalf of the municipality or local board. This closed session, we need to make public that we need to make public council's intent, rather, to consider filling the CAO position permanently. We aren't publicly going to discuss any individuals. However, if council members do wish to discuss their preference for an interim or permanent CAO, we are required to do that, so you're all aware, in open session. If there is no discussion upon that, we will recess into closed session now. Motion again has been moved by Councillor Rabbit, seconded by Councillor Van Passen. Sure, so if you wish to discuss whether or not we should have a permanent or interim CAO, your preference as to that needs to be done in open session. If we are discussing any particular individuals, then we'll be doing that in closed session. All those in favor? Scary.
On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario's south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. No you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for you. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Norfolk, 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 you won't be a stranger long. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country road and bound to be back for more. Of Norfolk, Norfolk, my Southern County home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. With hard work we built a dream that only willing hands could do. It's on display at our fall fairs and at all the festivals too. Erie beaches, Carolinian forests, where the flower and dogwoods bloom. Patchwork fields and rolling hills, it's just the place for. On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called On a strip of sandy soil lies a county called Norfolk. It's Ontario, south coast, you know, and it's surely not remote. If you pass through or spend a day or decide to call it home, you'll see why we love it here and are proud to call it our own. Norfolk, Norfolk, a southern county home. Norfolk, Norfolk, we know you can't go wrong with the friendly folk of Norfolk. You won't be a stranger long. Take in the small town atmosphere, be amazed at all that we grow. Like our kids that go and see the world and can't wait to return home. Drop a line in a placid lake or stroll along the shore. Take a tour on a peaceful country